Seen some boxing this weekend. Lots of it.
Yeah, actually I did. Yep.
Yeah. Before I get into it, any rumors true? Mungia with Caleb.
I'm in camp with Caleb right now. I'm
Okay.
in Vegas right now and in camp.
How? Okay,
And
that's good news. That's great news.
yeah, but it's not Mungia.
Okay. Okay. Who is it?
I don't know if I can announce it. I don't know if I could announce it. You know what I mean? But I could tell you that the date is well, I don't want to. It's not my place to announce it. But we in camp right now, and we about put it this way. I go to camp for 8 weeks, and I've been here a couple of weeks. So the announcement should be coming soon, but I don't think it's my place to announce. I'll let Caleb or his opponent or the promoters do it. But yeah, I don't know where people be getting stuff from, man. They just say anything. But if you ask me, I ain't gonna lie to you. But I may can't say it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Whoever said Mungia is not telling the truth.
Okay. Perfect. So, Bubu Andres.
No,
All right, I'll stop guessing right there. I'll stop. I'll
yeah,
stop right
nah.
there. Good.
Where
All
they,
right.
somebody said that one too.
No. Cause no one said that one. No one said that one. But like I've been trying to figure out. Actually, you know what? That was a bad guess because I just seen an interview of Boo Boo and he's definitely not in shape. Um, no,
I give you this.
yeah.
I give you this. I'll give you this. The fighter's undefeated with a very high. He has a high KO percentage, like
Damn. So
like maybe over 70%. He got a lot of knockouts.
his name starts with a D.
I ain't saying that, but that's all I could give you.
Good. Wow. Caleb was fighting the best. That's what's up. That's what's up. So
Hey,
how?
this is listen, man. This is this a real fight coming back from a year and a half layoff. This kid got a lot of knockouts, man. But I don't have no control over who he fight. I just come to train. So, but this he got to be on his p's and q's.
Right. Right. Um.
Lost before, you know what I mean? And they looking to get to that place, man. Jokers don't want to get a O up. So taking that first O is
Now this opponent, he's been at 168, like his, the majority of his career
uh or bigger.
or bigger.
Or bigger. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So, taking on this task, how do you feel? Talk to me
I
about
feel
this task.
confident, man.
Hmm.
I feel confident because the interesting thing about Caleb is that as a trainer, I gained my confidence in camp from the gym. And no fighter's perfect. But Caleb is I have a kid at home. You probably like him. He's a Puerto Rican kid. His name's Romuel Cuco Cruz. Him and Caleb are the only two fighters that I've never had. Like every training session that I've ever had with them is always A plus. It's very rare. Like after the training session, it's always like rigorous and just like from beginning to the end, no lulls. It's I can't explain it, bro. I can't. They just both of them have like a unique way because they don't act alike. Caleb is like extroverted and he's always joking and like stuff like that. And he talks. The kid Kuko don't talk. He don't say a word in the gym. He just come in the gym. He gives you a fist bump. You tell him what to do. I could train him 2 months and we don't even have a conversation. He's very, very unique. Both got something in common where like every workout is super great from beginning to end. And that's where I think I draw my confidence from Caleb because I'm not one of those guys that just think you could just turn it on and off. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that it's not my thing to just like be lackadaisical and be subpar and then you just gonna just be Michael Jordan on the night of the fight. I don't like the I feel more comfortable if you have a great camp, if you do everything you're supposed to do. And you know, that's where I draw my confidence from Caleb because of his workouts and things like that. That's why I was so confident with Karan versus Elijah Garcia. I heard everybody talking. Karan's a rapper. He don't take this serious. I'm like, you gonna see Karan for whatever came over him in those camps. And I'm not saying he ain't ever partied and had fun, but in those camps, he was so locked in. Every time somebody called me, I'm like, bet it, bet it, bet it. His pop bet $10,000 on him and won 100 grand. I said, bet it. It is in dog shape, and ain't nobody gonna beat him if he like that. And with Caleb, back to him, I draw my confidence from him because every single training session, every single camp is very, very, very productive. So we even with David Benavidez, I'm like, he gonna be right with him because he trains so hard. That give a fighter confidence, man. Sometimes fighters don't know that you break down the energy of your team when you don't train right because nobody is going to like look at you and be like, yo, you going to lose. But the people around you start looking like, damn, bro, like you you embarrass them too when you don't put everything in and then you go out there and then you have a subpar performance. So with Caleb, that's the one thing I can say about him is he always like locked in camp in the gym as far as his energy output and things like that. So in the fights, even though they make him take tough fights, I'm confident like we gonna show up. We gonna be right. This kid right here, I told him like it's gonna be a tough fight. I think the boy like 27, 28 and 0, like 22 knockouts. I'm like, you gotta fight, bro. Like this kid coming to knock your head off. He wanted to get to the bigger get to the big stage and he looking at you to go through you. So but Caleb is ready. He's sharp as a tack. He turned 32 yesterday. Yeah, he turned 32 yesterday. Yep. When I got off the plane, because I go home every weekend. So I leave camp Friday night, go home, see my kids, come back Monday morning. When I got off the plane, uh, he was waiting for me right in the gym, and he turned 32 yesterday. His wife had him a little cake in the gym. I don't like all that nice stuff in camp, but that's what wives do. But he looking good, man. He did what I needed him to do in between fights, and that's all I could ask for. You know, you can't control the politics outside the ring, but you could do what you got to do in the gym, so camp could be easy. And he's looking good.
Like what you call it? Hold on, Mills is mute. Well, you guys can't hear us. Let
I hear
everybody
you.
know.
I hear you clear.
I just wanted to make sure that the chat hears us. And anybody in the chat, our audio is good. Mills is on mute. I'm on mute. So I'm on mute. How am I on mute? But you're not on mute. You good now? I
I
guess
hear
I'm
you
good.
good, bro.
All right, good, cool, cool. I can hear you now. Wow, they're messing with me. See, they'll mess with me. They'll mess.
uh, no, um,
Is this guy supposedly 3
no,
in the
not in my
68
opinion.
division?
Not my opinion, but I'm not gonna lie.
Other analysts, though. Have you heard other analysts say otherwise, though? Shit. Okay. Oh, it's not. It's not. Hold on, coach. You went. You went the internet connection. Your wait. Now it's getting better. Wh- Where were what were you were saying, David Morrell? What? Oh no, I can't. The connect. Yeah, the connection's a little off on your end now, Coach.
You
Sure,
you want to
sure.
come in and go back out?
Thank you, Coach. Smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. We got 70 people on the live. You guys are grimy, yo. Hit that like button. Show the love, man. For real, for real. So we can improve the visibility of the show. Coach Breadman. Trying to give him, I'll get him on here every week if you smash that like button. All right. We back?
You hear me?
So, yep. Perfect. So you was talking about David Morrell. You saying it's not David Morrell?
No, no, no. David Morrell has a fight on that August against Hot
Okay,
Rod.
okay, okay. Okay,
So he has a fight coming up. No, it's not
okay,
him. That's who I believe would be looked at as third behind Canelo and Benavidez. But no, it's not David Morrell.
okay, okay. Um, Nevertheless, as far as so you think what maybe this week we'll probably get the message of the call of the announcement, fight announcement.
I would suppose so. Uh, uh, I would suppose so because the fight is, scheduled for, you know, is less than 8 weeks away. So I would suppose the announcement should be coming pretty soon. But
Okay,
I don't know exactly when.
okay. Um, you know anything about the card itself?
No, no, man, I don't even be paying attention to the fighter that I have on the card. I don't even know. No, I think Caleb will be the favorite, but uh, I think he'll be the favorite.
Starting with Abdullah Mason, what's your
You broke up a little bit.
what would you think about Abdullah Mason
He's
in the
nice.
top rank card?
He's nice. He can fight. I like him. He's real nice. Obviously, you just got to see the progression of opponents step up. You know, that's it. You just got to just see the progression of opponents step up. But he's nice. I wonder what Top Rank gonna do with all of these lightweights all around the same. You know what I mean? Like they gonna have. It's gonna have to be some decisions to make. Like, and those guys seem like that they friends. And I'm like, damn, man, like, cause he's nice, man. Like he can fight. Like, I mean, you can't be friends, but so friendly with somebody that's in your weight division. So you got him, Keyshawn, and Shakur all in the same weight division. Because Abdullah Mason is coming.
So, did you learn anything from Abdullah Mason in that step up fight that you didn't know about him?
I know he was the deal. I just gotta just keep seeing more. One thing about me, man, I don't go crazy over fighters. You know, I try to keep a level head because you never know. Each step that you go up, you could things start changing. But for right now, everything I see, Abdullah Mason is nice. I like him. Um, I think Keyshawn is a little ahead of him right now. Is a little bit ahead of him. But uh another year and a half, who knows? But
Um,
right now I think Keyshawn is a little bit more advanced. If I'm not mistaken, Keyshawn's about 25, and he has the international experience, whereas Mason is about 20, 21. So I think Keyshawn is a little bit ahead of him, but that gap could close quickly. You got to keep getting better. It's not just the people that's in front of you; it's the people that's behind you also. So that gap could close quickly because Abdullah may have a higher upside. Because he's a lot younger. So who knows? You never know how guys progress. But if you asking me right at this moment, I think Keyshawn is a little ahead of him.
Uh, who would you like to see him fight next? Abdullah
Who you talking?
Mason.
Um, hmm, uh, who he could fight? I think he could fight somebody like maybe Jojo Diaz.
Mm, Jojo Diaz. Okay. Now, moving on to Keyshawn's performance. What you think about that performance that night this weekend?
I think Keyshawn is ready for a title shot.
You think he's ready for a title?
I think that, yeah, I think that those levels point where he's not getting that much out of it. I think that he needs like a big name. He needs somebody to like light the fire up under him. I think that the better competition to show where he's at because he's kind of been at the same level of guys for the last 3 or 4 fights, and I think he's ready for a title shot. I think he looks like sometimes he's probably getting a little bored with that level of guy because he's dominating, but he's not set the world on fire. And I see that happens sometime where like good all around fighters, you got to raise their level of competition so they can show exactly what they got. Keyshawn can punch, but it's not like lights out punching power. So he got to be able to show his whole skill set. So I think that he got to go for like a big name, and if it's not a title, a world title, because I don't know what's available, like a big name, like a guy, so we could kind of compare him to the other guys, like the George Kambosos kind of guys. Somebody who's challenged for the title or was an ex-world champion who or gave like one of the champions a real good fight so you could kind of see exactly where they are.
But
Like,
that's
so I think,
before the title
you know,
shot.
yeah, like okay, I'll give you an example. The dude De Los Santos, guy like him. A guy like Edwin De Los Santos, a guy like George Campbell, somebody around Edwin De Los Santos might be too dangerous because he's tough. But somebody like that, so you could see, because Keyshawn is like, if I'm not mistaken, he's about 25, 26. And with the kind of Olympic pedigree that he has, you kind of look at him like he should be ready. And I think that will bring out the best of him, honestly.
Mm. Um, this was a former opponent that Claggett beat, that Keyshawn fought, which is the guy that Tiafimo just beat 2 weeks ago. Um, what do you think about the young man? Do you feel like how many fights do you think he got left at 35?
Who? Keyshawn?
Keyshawn, or you think he's the runner up? Do you think he's the runner up right now due to the way that Top Rank, kind of displayed their like kind of goodbyes to Shakur?
Well, I don't know if they displayed their goodbyes.
Not,
We got to see.
yeah, you're right. They didn't close the door,
We,
but they didn't keep it wide open.
yeah. Yeah, we just gotta see. Business is funny. You know that as well as I know that. So you gotta be careful, especially when you're speaking on other people's business and you don't know all of the details of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like it could be a lot of stuff in that contract that we don't know about. So I'm real careful about that in boxing because I've been on both sides of that. I've heard people say stuff and I just be sitting there like, damn, bro, I'm the one looking at the contract. How you know what's on there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've heard people say things. So I'm a little bit. I've been around the block enough time to know that everything that's said in the open, sometimes you can be. It's a word. You could be misdirected.
Hmm.
Sometimes people could throw a little something at you and just throw you off the scent. So, but I don't. if he wants to move 140. I hear him calling out Teofimo Lopez, but I don't know if he's struggling in weight. I know he's kind of tall for the weight. Um, I think he probably could be a little bit more active. He's only 11-0. I think he's been pro for a few years now. But I think he needs a big fight. You can tell that he's getting antsy. You can tell that he's getting aggravated. You can tell that he thinks he's as good as all of those guys, but he knows that he's not the number one priority right now. So I think that he needs that big fight. I think that at a certain point he's going to start like snapping and start calling like anybody out. Like I'll fight Shakur. I don't want to say that because they seem like they friends, but if a guy is a champion in your weight division and you coming up and you looking for your shot, it could kind of make you just like go crazy and like turn on your friend. You know what I mean? So I think they need to get Keyshawn ready for champions right now.
Mm. No, I hear what you're saying. Are you still there, Coach? Yep, you're there. Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear what you're
Yeah, I'm
saying
here.
because yeah,
I'm here.
friends, and this is like the final fight contract. So it's like, yeah, it definitely you got to make a decision, and you're right. He is a dog that's ready to go. Now, what do you think about his brother Calvin Davis and Kevin Johnson fight earlier before that? Were you able to catch that fight?
I
Good
didn't
fight.
see it.
You should check it out. But definitely want to get your thoughts on those Shockey Foster versus Conceição fight. A lot of people are saying that is a robbery. What do you believe?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something funny. I went to go cash in a bet slip this weekend because I've been in Vegas. So when I came home, when I woke up Saturday morning, I went to go cash in my betting slip, and I saw that Concepcion, how do you say his name, was the underdog, and I'm like, this like dude third or fourth title shot. Let me just go, and I put my winnings on my betting slip on him, just like just for something to do because I was like, this looked like the most competitive possible upset because I didn't think nobody else was going to get upset. And I really didn't honestly watch the fight in the entirety. Like I was like switching back and forth. And when I saw he won, I was like, damn, I hit that too. And everybody was like, he got robbed. But I can't really say. I saw that he was busy, and I saw that Oshaki Foster was counterpunching pretty good. But I don't want to be disingenuous and act like I was scoring the fight or I seen it from beginning to end because I didn't.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I went with shock and messed up the whole thing. Um, so let's get into Shakur Stevenson's performance. Let's go from there. What's your thoughts about it? What's your first reactions?
Um, I think that everybody wants things don't come to everybody else. So certain things don't come as natural to every fighter, you know. And what's natural for Shakur is to kind of like neutralize his opponents, pot shot, wait for you to be out of position. He'll counter punch. He has good thump to the body. You could tell that he got good body punches. And he's just, he's a careful fighter. He's very conservative. He's economic with his output and it's working for him. And comparison to Floyd Baker, I just think that we so
Hold on, Coach. You going frozen, Coach. The misconnection. Can you come out and come back in before we get into this the Shakur?
Okay. All right, I'll come in.
Smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Smash the like button so we could also improve the visibility of the show. Let YouTube know that we watching this and we want better. Get Coach Breadman, smash that like button, ladies and gentlemen. What y'all thoughts on it as well? Let me know what y'all thoughts on the Shakur Stevenson fight. And let me know what y'all think. Do you think Oshaki Foster got robbed against the Conceicao fight? Put it in the comments. Let me know what's your thoughts. Did Shakur Stevenson impress? Good. All right. We back.
You hear me clear?
Mic check. Mic check. Hold on. Are you on the Wi-Fi over there, Coach? They don't got no Wi-Fi over there?
Yeah, I got it. Is it can you hear me clear?
Yep. Yep.
All
All
right.
right, cool. So what's your thoughts on the Shakur Stevenson fight?
I think that we expect Shakur to be a savage and he's a scientist. I think that like naturally what he does is he takes an economical approach to boxing and he's not going to put himself in harm's way because his instincts don't let him do that. And he's compared to Bud Crawford because they're really good friends. Compared to Andre Ward because Andre Ward is part of his team. Compared to uh, Pernell Whitaker and Floyd Mayweather, and they're just different kind of fighters than Shakur. And I just think that that Shakur's instincts tell him to do what they tell him to do, and that is to fight a safe, smart fight and not put himself in harm's way. And listen, I can't be overly critical of a guy that's winning top-notch fights and winning elite level fight because he's not taking the chances that people want him to uh taking the chances that people want him to take. And just like the fans, like they got a choice whether they want to pay for it or not. You know what I mean? So it goes both ways. But I don't have a big problem with Shakur's style. Now, here's what I will say. If Shakur is losing the fight, let's say he's down on the cards. You remember when somebody told Bud, yo, you down against Sean Porter? I don't know how old you are, but you remember the Ray Leonard Tommy Hearns fight. Ray Leonard's a boxer.
I watched the
But
fight.
when he was losing, he said, "Oh, okay, all right, now y'all got to see this side of me." Now, if Shakur's ever losing a fight and he's down and he still takes the same economical approach and just allows himself to lose, that's when I'll have criticism of. You know what I mean? That's when I'll be like, damn, man, you just let yourself lose. But he's winning fights like this without putting himself in harm's way. I'm not saying that I would rather watch Shakur Stevenson fight than Monster in a way. You know what I mean? I'm not like part of his team. I'm not trying to come to his defense, but I don't want to be overly critical if he's winning with ease. But if he chooses to fight that same style and he's losing, then I'll say, you know what? Kind of like Hector Camacho. Remember Camacho after he got hit by Rosario? If you was putting a thumping on him, he'll fight that style and run around the ring and allow himself to just lose a decision. Now I can't accept that. But if you're winning, it's hard to really say. I think the young man's biggest issue for me, two things. One, he got to stop talking back to his coach. When you hire your coach for a reason, you got to respect them. I know it's a lot of tension in the ring. I know it's a lot of anxiety. I understand that it's a lot going on in there, but you only have a minute to receive those instructions. And when you're talking, you're supposed to just be breathing and recovering. And when you're talking and he's talking, it has to be frustrating to him because it's not just his coach, it's his grandfather. So that's embarrassing to have a fighter and a kid that I'm sure was instrumental in raising, just giving you word for word. You know what I mean? That's I'm much more. critical of that than I would be his performance. You can't disrespect your trainer, man. I'm a trainer. You know what I mean? They pay us for a reason. And if you don't believe in them and you don't want to listen to them, then you should pay somebody else to do it. You know what I mean? But that's tough. That made me like cringe a little bit. Like, dad, young fella, you gotta respect your pops, man. Don't talk back to him, you know. And I don't know Shakur personally. I see him and speak to him or whatever, and I'll never walk up and give nobody advice or anything. But that's not something that you want the world to see. That you not respecting your coach and your grandfather. You don't. They're gonna take that, and I know that he probably love him, and he probably wished that he could take it back. And it was one of those things in the moment because look, I'm not perfect. You know, it's probably times I talk back to my parents or my grandparents and I got the shit knocked out of me, but I wish I didn't do it. You know what I mean? And argued or whatever. So we do that sometime as young men or whatever. Trust me, I'm definitely not perfect, but that's the one thing that's to me is way bigger deal than winning 9 or 10 rounds with a world class opponent. I'm not going to criticize the kid's performance, but he got to be careful with that. And I just think that the social media thing it screws up the boxers. I think that if Shakur just he's a great looking kid, he could be on Madison Avenue in New York. I think that if he just like I'm just going to win my fight, I don't think it would be that bad. But when you start saying how you gonna knock the guy out and do this and do that, people start expecting that. You know what I mean? It's like dating a woman, right? You ever date a woman? Man, I'm gonna make you wait for this. Man, I'm gonna make you wait for this. And you on a like fifth date, and she telling you she a porn star and she making you wait. And then when you get it, it's good, but you're like, damn, man, that's why you got to just be careful with saying what you're going to do and how you're going to knock the guy out and all that kind of stuff. And then when you don't do it, people going to hold you to that a little bit, But I don't have a lot of criticism for Shakur. You know what I mean? Because he's fighting the style that's comfortable for him to win. His opponents have to bring him out of that comfort zone. Now, what I will say is that I think his career is going to be tougher now. I think that the opponents have a four-letter word, and it's going to be called hope. I think that they're going to say, you know what, man? He don't really open up so much. I'm going to be a dog. I'm not going to submit to his skill and his defense, and I'm going to push through these little points. And I think everybody's going to fight him tougher now because we've seen it 3 times, with the tall African guy. I forget his name. This last
Nakatilia.
fight, this last fight, and then the fight with Edwin De Los Santos. So we seen him 3 times at the top level, kind of be a little conservative. So now it's not like just an off night or just one of them things. Now it's like, okay, so I think every opponent is going to be about 5% better in fighting just a little bit harder. But that's what makes fighters special. Can he overcome that? You know what I mean? Can he get past that point? You know what I mean? Because there's some great fighters that guys, that don't blow everybody out. You know what I mean? But once the boxing world and the good coaches, they see not so much a weakness, but a tendency or a trend of something that keep happening, you got to raise your game because what happens is everybody's studying that. Everybody's saying, how come Shakur don't open up? Or how come he really don't counterpunch? Or why isn't he not getting these outmatched opponents out of here? And the fighters and the coaches, they're gonna start getting, they're gonna trust me, everybody's gonna fight him harder. You remember me telling you his whole career from here on out is gonna be harder. Because another thing is you gotta remember this is a business. And I think personally Shakur Stevenson is the kind of fighter that's gonna be better against better competition. I think that you can't really showcase him because he's not a knockout artist. And the way he fights, he's overmatching the opponents, and then it's just not exciting to the crowd. And you got to generate money. So I think that he's going to have to fight tougher opponents because of that. Because you just can't put him in there with somebody that nobody knows and just watch him just uh, dominate, but in a quiet, subtle way. You know what I mean? We had the San Antonio Spurs of the early 2000s, man, they won 5 championships, bro. But you never had nobody walking around saying San Antonio my favorite team. Nobody really liked them. You know what I mean? He didn't. If you think about that, the basketball culture around that time, teams like the Trailblazers and the Kings got more love than San Antonio, and the Lakers got way more love than San Antonio, and LeBron's Cavs and Golden State got, Cavs and Miami got way more love than than San Antonio, and San Antonio won as many chips as anybody because of the way they played. So Shakur just got to just keep winning, and hopefully, if he's good enough to dominate the tanks and them, nobody can say anything. But he's ever at a point where his style is not good enough to win on points, and he has to dig down and score a stoppage or become more aggressive. You know, we got to see if he has it in him. I'm not saying he does or don't because I don't know. We just have to see. Somebody has to bring it out of him. That's what happens with elite boxers. People have to bring that out of that conservative approach out of them because see, there's some guys like Crawford who could box his ass off, but he's sadistic. He wants to hurt you and knock you out. Boots, same way. Boots could fight like that. I've seen Boots reflexes. He could just not get touched, but he's sadistic. He wants to hurt you. Where Shakur is good with being like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not. I don't even like to say if I was Shakur, but if I was Shakur, I would say, you know what? That's just me. Y'all just got to beat me. Y'all got to figure out a way to beat me instead of I'm gonna knock him out and I'm gonna beat him up and the guy was running all around the ring. Look, Shakur usually fights like that, so you can't criticize that style when that's a style that you implement. Also, I wouldn't talk the killer talk. I'll just say I'm gonna beat everybody, and whoever can beat me, y'all just gonna have to just figure it out because I'm not gonna make it easier for y'all to beat me. The name of the game is to win. The second part of the game is to impress and to put the butts in the seats. But the number one part of the game is to win. That's why we keep wins and losses. So I think everybody's getting misguided. And it's just social media is tough, man. Everybody's killing the kid and everybody has everything to say. And then his biggest rival of this era is Tank Davis, who's a knockout artist. So that don't make it better. So it's just so much stuff coming down on it. And then the people that don't like Shakur, they know that he's on social media and they know it gets to him. So they keep needling him and needling him. And he keeps feeding into it from what I'm hearing. And it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. That's why I tell fighters to stay off social media, but they grown men, and you can't control a grown man but so much. But I think social media is bad for fighters. The kid just won a fight, just made a successful title defense, and he got to defend himself from everybody just taking a shot at him. It's tough, man. You know what I mean? It's tough, and I know knockouts are exciting. I'm sure he wants to score them, but he's going to wind up forcing something and getting clipped with some shit. And if he listened to these people, and it's funny because I told Devin Haney the same thing. Ask him if you ever talked to him. One day I seen Devin in Vegas. I said, bro, you could box, and you might got the best jab in boxing. Don't listen to these people trying to make you into something that you're not. I'm just telling you. Ask them. Ask them. I said, man, the knockouts will come with accuracy. You can't cultivate certain things. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't force certain things. You have to cultivate them. It takes time to develop certain things. And when you're not a natural killer and knockout artist, you have to cultivate that. You don't want to force that and turn yourself into something that you're not. Terrence Crawford is special. He's special. That's just it. Some people just born with great boxing ability, but he also has the ability to turn the switch on and off and get knockouts while he's boxing and still being defensively responsible. He's special. That's why he's the number one or two, whatever you want to call him, pound for pound fighter in the world. He's a special fighter. Everybody not gonna be like that. You gotta be happy with being yourself and then improving upon that. And I'm not saying don't want to get knockouts. And obviously, everybody wants to get them. You don't want to put something in three strangers' hands, but you don't want to compromise your skill set for the knockout. Sugar Ray Leonard is special. Andre Ward wasn't a knockout artist, but he was rough. He gets you on the
You need to say that
inside.
again, coach. Too. You need to say that. Do not sacrifice your what?
Your skill set for the knockouts. You know, Andre Ward was rough.
But
He
that
wasn't a
it's a tough
knockout.
because to get the knockout for 12 rounds. Sometimes it's like you got to take those chances. A lot of coaches
Listen,
say you got to take those chances. You
I'm
got to push
I'm
it.
not I'm not saying that that's wrong. What I am saying is, I'm listen to the word I'm using. Force it.
Hmm.
If you force it and it's not natural to you, you're going to pay for it. That's
Hmm.
what I'm saying to you. You can't force it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to go for it. But forcing it is not going to work for him. It's
I hear
already
you.
been proven. He's already been a pro for 8 years. That's not his game. Now, can he get knockouts if he gets a little bit more accurate, gets a, hit guys with shots that they don't see? It's more than one. Knockouts is a lot of times your temperament. You know what I mean? It's not just your punching power, it's your temperament.
But this is what I want to stop you, coach, right? Because this is what I was talking to Shakur about, right? I was trying to explain to him about your pocket presence at 126, your pocket presence at 130, and we need to see more of you. And I think people are not giving you a chance because we haven't seen you in a bunch of fights at 35. But you're gonna be critically critiqued. You know, when you talk about pocket presence, right? When it comes to that stuff, do you feel like weight classes moving up in weight, you have to eventually start changing your style up a little bit to win these fights?
I think he has. I think because obviously he was a big guy for 26, so he wouldn't have moved up so fast.
Yep.
He looked great at 30,
Hmm.
you know, but I think that um, De Los Santos is a strong, snappy, explosive fighter, and Shakur felt that.
Yeah.
And I told people after that fight, I said he felt that. Y'all, I don't. You could see that De Los Santos could fucking crack. You could see it. You could just see the energy of
Oh,
the
he can
punches
fight.
coming off.
Yeah, he can
Yes,
crack.
that boy can fight. And and and
He's a
the
smaller
difference.
guy, I think, to Tank. I think he's a smaller guy than Tank as well. Coming and he's in or around the same. He's like they have a lot of power. They can bring
They
that up
got
in the divisions.
Yeah, and Shakur felt that. So where he had a physicality advantage at 26 and 30, he don't have that advantage at 35. He feel them punches. So again, fighters talking a different language. You got to watch what they do. It's not just what they say. He fights in a more conservative way because it's more dangerous up there.
Yeah,
So now it's at a point where people like,
it's gonna be the
listen,
same thing with Devin at 40.
yeah, they talk about Devin moving to 47. If he don't fight more conservative up there, he's gonna get hurt. What is he gonna do? Try to walk guys down at 47? So your instinct, when you get in the ring with somebody, you know and you feel certain things. We can all scream and holler outside what we want. But when a fighter get in that ring, he knows, all right, I gotta box this dude a little bit. He's strong. Okay, I could walk this guy down. And then you got some fighters that's psycho and they just willing to go through anything and they really willing to die. But everybody not. Everybody's not Diego Corrales or Felix Trinidad. They're not. Everybody's not wired that way. You know what I mean? So you got to accept the guy for what he is. And what he is a conservative, ultra talented boxer. I'm saying conservative. Where Bud is uh ultra talented boxer puncher who happens to be a mass murderer. He's a killer. So when he gets you in that position around the eighth or ninth round, he's not going to settle for a decision. He wants to hurt you and knock you out. That's some people's personality. I'll give you another. I got a homie, right? He probably walk around with like $7,500 in his pocket. I know you got homies like that. And they be all 20s, be bulging out his pockets, right? So you probably think if he got 7,500, 10 grand in his pocket, he got a million at home under the bed. But that 7,500 he got, that's all he got in the whole world. He'd go to the casino and bet all of that. I
Hmm.
watched him do it. All of it. All of it. Me, I go in the casino. If I play blackjack. man, I might go in there with like $300. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. I got the ultimate amount of discipline. Where my homie, he is a high stakes guy. He don't never ever he wins more than me every time he win big because I'm not going to win 30 and
Yeah.
$40,000. But guess what? He lose bigger than me too.
Oh, absolutely. That's the key thing is when you have that homie and you're betting with, make sure you take separate cards because they stay there forever. I'm just
Yeah,
saying, like,
yeah. He lose more than I do too. And we laugh about it. One time it's funny, me and Julian was at a casino
yeah,
early in his career and we was betting. I mean, Julian don't gamble, but he was watching me bet. And I won like maybe like $300. And he was like, damn, you done already? I said, yep, I'm disciplined. I'm walking away. And he couldn't believe it. He tells the story all the time. I'm like, yo, he'll just bet and walk away with a pocket full of money. I got a friend that either you got to clean him out or he got to clean the casino out. Shakur Stevenson is not wired that way. And we have to accept certain things. My my son played football. He's super nice. He's small though. The coach would be wanting him to run up the middle like Earl Campbell. My son more like Barry Sanders. He more I say, yo, y'all gotta leave him alone. He is what he is. He's gonna get all of that stuff when he gets it. He's y'all not going to make him be this, this run forward, try to run everybody over kind of football player. So Shakur, again, the only time I'm gonna criticize that young
the
man
last
is
the
if he
last
fights.
man on the dice game.
Yes, only time I'm gonna ever criticize Shakur is if he fight that style, knowing he losing and he still stay in that same mood. Then I'm gonna say, you know what, he didn't sell out for the win. That's when I'll criticize.
So, coach, tell me if do you feel like if he stuck to the game plan, right, with Wally Moses, do you feel like he would have been able to finesse the KO?
I don't know because that dude was landing some nice little shots in between that nobody talked about. He hit Shakur with a little left hook when Shakur was trying to get to his body. And I don't think he heard him, so to say, like had him knocked out. But I think that he buzzed him and I think he got his attention. He did it twice. That kid hit Shakur twice with shots that he see. What people don't get is that the most vulnerable time that a fighter has is when he's punching. So when you got a conservative fighter, they know that. They IQ let them know that. And they say, if I open up too much, then I open myself up. So it's simple. That's why he don't open up. But if Shakur just like was just like, yo, I'm just gonna win this fight. If you don't talk about killing guys and beating them all up and all that kind of stuff, nobody could hold him to all of this. You know what I'm saying? The kid is a bro. He got probably the hardest style in the world to deal with. He is a phenomenal
But I
boxer.
never
Don't
heard
nobody.
him. Did you hear him say he needed a knockout? I never heard him say he needed
No,
a knockout.
no. I've heard comments of people making like he's saying he's going to knock the guy out. You know what I mean? He's going to f the guy up and all that kind of stuff. And when you
Yeah, for
talk like
sure.
that, people expect that. But if you just say, okay, I'm gonna give you one, Bam Rodriguez, right?
Fire.
Bro, he don't never talk crazy. All he do is just go out there and do his job, and he the toast of the boxing world. That kid humble. He a cold killer when he get in that ring. So nobody can hold him to nothing. You know what I mean? Because of the way he conducts himself. He just go out there and just do it. Now I'm not saying that is not okay to talk. Because if you could talk and back it up, Muhammad Ali is probably the greatest person that I've ever met. I met him one time when I was a little kid in West Philly and it's like the highlight of my life. So he talked and he delivered. I'm not saying you can't talk, but what I'm saying is you create expectations when you say certain things. Where Bam Rodriguez, he don't say nothing. He just go out there and just deliver like unbelievable. Like he's passed all of these young guys on a pound for pound list because of his ability to deliver. When you talk, you got to be a Mike Tyson, Tommy Hearns, George Foreman level KO artist because that's what people gonna hold you to, especially in this time of social media. That's all I'm saying. You don't want to talk and then be a guy that's showing the sweet science and the scientific part of boxing and getting decisions because people are gonna say, damn, where's the mass murderer at? Where's Jason Voorhees? We want to see that. That's all I'm saying. But overall, I don't have a lot of criticism for Shakur Stevenson because he winning. You know what I mean? I want to see somebody push him to the limit. And I do think it's guys that can push him to his limit. But if he outboxed them easily too, what can anybody say? You know what I mean? He got now. I also say this with his style, he don't want to start losing. He don't want to start losing because with his style, and I see how the media really. I honestly, it doesn't look like the media likes him too much. They kind of say some mean things about the kid. So if he starts losing, I can see him like I can see things being like really tough for him then, like emotionally, and then he'll
Like
get
Devin
caught in
Haney
the
right now.
yeah, they take some tough criticism, man. You know, the human mind is not wired to hear all that negativity about you, man. You know what I mean? And to be on social media and have these people saying stuff about you and your family is I don't envy any fighter that got to go through that, man. That's a tough deal. So, right now where Shakur is at, he can't start losing. You know, they're gonna crucify him if he start losing. He has to really, really because the way, I don't be on social media like that. I'll talk about a fight and then get off of it. And but like the way I got people that tell me like they killing Shakur, and I just be like, damn,
Yeah.
fighters and analysts and everybody. So if he ever was to start losing, it'll be tough on him, man. You know, he has to, and that's probably another reason why he fights so conservative because he don't want to chance it. He does not want to chance losing because he'd rather just keep that O than deal with the backlash and everything else that's going to come down to that. So, it's a tough choice, man. But man, the kid's a three-division champion, man. He's undefeated and he's a hell of a fighter. He just got to just be careful. But I do think it's guys that can bring out, a more violent um, Shakur Stevenson, like that kid Cepeda. That kid Cepeda, Pitbull Cruz, those kind of guys with that kind of volume and pressure that's not going to just take no for an answer. I would like to see those fights because I don't know if we can make I'm saying we, but the world can make Tank and Tiafimo right now. Tiafimo's at 40, and Tank can do whatever he wants. He's the star. But I don't know if they can make that right now. But in the meantime, a guy like that, Cepeda's a real contender. That kid can fight and his volume. I was just like, I'm not saying he could beat Shakur. I just want to see. I want to see if he could deal with that. I would like to see Shakur and Frank Martin. I want to see if he can deal with that.
Mm.
Frank Martin is nice. You know what I mean? Tank and Shakur don't fight alike, and styles is different. Tank had to Frank Martin had to do certain things because Tank got dynamite in his gloves, and he's setting different kind of traps, and he's punching with you, and he's making you panic, and you punching, and then he counter punching you. Where Shakur fights a much more controlled fight. It's just different. He can outbox you. He can embarrass you, but he don't have the threat to hurt you the way Tank does. So that's a different kind of fight. I would like to see Frank Martin versus Shakur. I think highly of Frank Martin. I think he can fight. Cepeda, Pitbull, Cruz, but Cruz just won the title at 40, so I don't know if that's makeable. But uh, I think
The light
Shakur
button, y'all.
I think Shakur is a little bit advanced for Maratella. The guy, Raymond Maratella, I think Shakur is a little too quick for him. But those are all good fights. Young, undefeated fighters. But Tevin Farmer got a shot versus him. Remember me telling you. He got a shot versus that kid. If
Versus
Tevin
who?
Farmer is Maratella.
Oh yeah, you think he has a shot in that fight? That's
Yes.
another. That's
Yes.
another. That's another one of those pick that underdog right there.
I'm telling you, Tev is my guy. I'm not saying that because he's my guy. But if Chino got him in shape, and he's to his old self, he could beat Moratella.
That's a big upset right there. He's been
Yeah, he can win that fight.
he's been a little bit more active in the Philly circuit now, but we haven't seen him in a big fight in a
I
while.
haven't seen him. I haven't seen him, but the Tev that I know from a couple years ago, before uh, He just took off a while, so I got to see if he's sharper. He did take off, but if he fight a real good fight, he can win that fight.
So when you look at Shakur Stevenson now with a Tank Davis fight, right? I mean, that's a fight that Tank said you on the list. Now, in the same token, we have Shakur Stevenson leaving on Twitter saying, Top Rank don't know how to promote black fighters. Do you feel like he possibly goes to PBC, or do you feel like he goes to Matchroom
I don't know, man. I don't know.
or Mayweather
Uh, the big
Promotions?
the big money is with Tank. So if you want Tank, you sign to where the money is. But who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he worked on a fight by fight deal. I really don't know.
Yeah, I
You know
think
what I
that's what they
mean?
do. And I like that Frank Martin fight. I feel like that's the next fight for Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin. I feel like that would definitely be the next fight for those two guys.
Listen, I think that's a good fight. I do. I honestly do. I think that's a good fight. I think Shakur and William Cepeda is one of the best number one contender versus champion fights that could be made in boxing. Cepeda's never been a champion, but he's a real challenger. People say how many world champions you fought. Bro, you could fight a world champion that's old or shot and be a former world champion. Cepeda is in his prime. He's a real challenger. I would like to see that fight. That's a real fight. And I think that Cepeda will have a good chance. I'm not saying I'll pick him, but I would want to see if Shakur could deal with that volume, that pressure, the criticism, the judges thinking that everybody's going to
Everything.
be against. Yeah, everybody's going. People are going to be rooting for Cepeda. They're going to be. I would want to see if Shakur could overcome that. I'm curious to see, man, because I think Shakur is the real deal, and I think he's going to shine in these big fights. But you gotta, you can't get credit for something you haven't done. I would like to see the fights.
Mm, mm. Um, yeah. So I mean, that was pretty much it, man. I think we really like tapped in with Shakur. I mean, I think he has. I feel like a lot of people are going down on him, honestly, because let's be honest, he basically pitched a shutout, and we had a complaints of him, moving around in the ring too much. He was stepping to this guy the whole time, maybe not putting in all the work, but stepping to him.
No, I don't think he was moving around the ring at all. I just think that it's it's a couple reasons why guys don't score knockouts. If you're not a one punch knockout artist, which most people aren't,
Right?
if you're not a one punch knockout artist, right, you either have to have an overwhelming type of style where you don't stop like an Aaron Pryor, or you got to be a vicious counter puncher, or you got to be a guy who punches with the opponent.
Yeah.
Shakur don't do none of that. What he does is he pot shots you. He makes you miss. He waits for you to finish, and if you're out of position, he'll pot shot you again. So it's not really his lack of power. You could tell that his body shots have some impact. It's how he fight. You understand what I'm saying? He not really like Crawford. Crawford is sit right there in the pocket. He'll thread a needle and punch with you and clip you right on the point of your chin. I think Crawford could punch, but I don't look at him like Felix Trinidad and Tommy Hearns welterweight level punchers. But he hits you right in the middle of while you punching with his shot, and that those are devastating shots because the other guy is punching at the same time. So it's like the impact of a head-on-head car collision where Shakur don't punch with you. But in order to do that, you got to be like a gunfighter, a gunslinger, like the old Wild West, or you got to be like one of those guys. Everybody's not like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just how it is. Some guys are just willing to thread that needle and do it, and some guys aren't. Shakur takes a much safer approach to it, and that's why he wasn't running from the guy. He just don't really open up like that. He's thinking about his defense first. He's a defensive first fighter, and I don't. It's the only way you could break that personality is something that he would have to cultivate through time. It's not going to just happen overnight. You know what I mean? He feels when he has an outmatched opponent. Like when he fought Jamel Herring, he let his hands go because he knew in his instincts like this guy can't do nothing with me. But if you feel the threat of it, and there's no disrespect to Herring, Shakur just kind of knew that he had him. You know what I mean? He's like, I got this guy. You could just tell by the body language and how freely he was punching. But if he feels like a threat, it's a little bit different. Now, remember, the fight when Herring was at 130. Shakur was a big guy at 130. He was dominating them guys, even Oscar Valdez. But when you move up, this is his third division, 135 pounders walk around at 160, in this era. So he's feeling that. And he's like, okay, I got to be a little bit more safer. And, you know, we just got to just see his career keep progressing. But I'm curious to see who he signed with, too. I want to see him in Tank fight. To me, people don't like me saying that. That has a chance to be the biggest lightweight title fight in history. If you think about the super fights that've been at lightweight. I've been watching boxing a long time. We would have to go back to maybe the Jesus Duran 3. That fight happened in 1978 before most of these guys was born. Think about the super fights at lightweight. Pernell Whitaker was a great fighter, but his biggest fight at lightweight was versus Azuma Nelson. Chavez's biggest fight at lightweight was versus Edwin Rosario. Camacho and Rosario was a big fight at lightweight. But have we honestly had super fights? We missed it with Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia. That would have been a super fight, but it never happened. You know what I'm saying? Oscar De La Hoya had some big fights at 135. De La Hoya had some big fights, but I don't know if he had super fights at 135. We haven't had too many. Floyd's biggest fight at 135 was Castillo. Was that a super fight?
No.
This is a super fight. You know what I'm saying? If it happens, it's got a chance to be the biggest fight in lightweight history. So I would like to see it happen.
Yeah, you 100% on that for sure. So we got our first caller coming in. What's going on? I got Coach Breadman. What's on your mind? You got any questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach. For that fight for Saturday, for all the fights that happen Saturday night, where do you see everybody's stock from each fighter? Where do you think their stocks are rising or going low?
You talking about out of Shakur and Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis?
Yep.
I think Abdullah Mason's stock rose. I think Keyshawn Davis' stock rose slightly because he got a win, but I don't know if he was as impressive as Mason. And I think Shakur's stock remained the same.
Got you.
New caller coming in. KC Smooth, what's going on? I got Coach Breadman. Got any coach questions? I said questions.
I got a question for Coach. Abdullah Mason fighting Keyshawn coming up soon.
What did he say?
What was the question?
I said, how do you feel about Keyshawn possibly going up against Abdullah Mason?
I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think I don't think Top Rank would do that right now.
They're too buddy right now. They are friends.
It's not just that they're too buddy. I just don't think that the development and the way the matchmaking work, where you will put Abdullah Mason in with Keyshawn Davis right now, like that just wouldn't make any sense. And no good matchmaker or promoter would make that fight this early.
Who do you think will win right now if they both up?
Keyshawn Davis, I think he's a little too advanced.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys?
Quick question. Do you think Tank beats everybody at 135? I do.
I think that right now, Tank is the best guy at 130, best fighter at 135, but I think he has to prove it in the ring. And I think that right now I will make him the favorite over everybody, but I would like to see what form he's in and where he's at if him and Shakur would sign the fight, because I think that's a tough fight. But I would favor Tank over everybody right now, and I consider him to be the number one fighter at 135.
So, Coach, I have a question for you. Obviously, this weekend we have David Avanesian versus Jerome Boots Ennis. Also on the card, we have Pistol Pete Dobson versus Jalil Hackett. Let's talk about those two fights real quick because obviously David Avanesian was a former opponent of Crawford. So, what do you think about that fight? What does that fight mean for both fighters? Start with
Um,
Jalil Hackett and Pete Dobson.
I had Jalil Hackett in camp actually with J Rock a few years ago. I like Jalil Hackett in the fight actually. I think that his pressure is going to be a little bit too much, and I can see him winning the decision.
Mm.
I think he's really strong. He has really good pressure. He's a dog. He might not be like as slick as some guys, but he really, really knows. He's a real well conditioned kid, and I just think that the pressure is going to be overwhelming. And he's a lot more physically strong than he looks. He's a strong kid. So I like Hackett in the fight. Far as Boots and um,
David Avanesian.
Avanesian, I think Boots wins a spectacular knockout. Boots is one of them rare kind of guys. Uh, some people are at their best when everyone is looking and when their best is needed. And I think they understands the assignment. I see him in the gym and his physicality. I mean, I watch him like push around light heavyweights, bro, and super middleweights. I'm talking about pushing them around and just hitting them with shots. And you would think he was the light heavyweight or the super middleweight. I'm watching him do it with my own eyes. His physicality is much greater than what we all realize. And when he hits a guy at 47, you know what I mean, with them 8-ounce gloves on, bro, it's bad for them. And I think Avanesian is gonna get hurt. I would not be surprised if he stopped him within the first half of the fight.
Now, do you believe that this is a tougher task than Cody Crowley?
About even. Maybe a little bit. Avanesian probably a little bit better puncher. I always thought that Crawley was too small. About even. No, I don't think it's a cherry pick because Boots is the champion at 147. So he hasn't really even had a chance to defend his title. So why would he jump on the card to fight Virgil Ortiz for an interim belt at 154? I don't understand that. So I don't.
At 147 no more.
Go on, Coach. Sorry.
I don't understand why will Boots chase a fight with Virgil Ortiz and jump on the card and fight Virgil Ortiz when he's a champion at 147. He can defend his belt at home. And he got a new promoter and he's defending his belt at home. Why would he fight Virgil Ortiz for an interim title or no title at all at 154? Like why does he have to move up to fight Virgil Ortiz when he has a chance to fight to defend his title at home? I don't understand. I don't know who you said that, but I just don't
Bernie, your
understand
boy
a lot.
Bernie, your boy Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Bernie?
Bernie the boxer.
Oh, Terrence Crawford's guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know, man. You said, all right, I didn't know you was talking about. No, Bernie, my guy, but I don't agree with that. Why do we have to move up and fight in a non-title fight against Virgil Ortiz? I don't get that.
I guess he was
Uh,
looking at the competition. Maybe he just knows it's going to be a highlight reel and he don't want to see it.
well, I mean Crawford fought that same guy in the Stay Busy fight. So if he was good enough for Crawford to fight in the Stay Busy fight
Got paid a
on
lot
Black
of money for
Prime,
that fight too.
I know, but listen, why would he be good enough to fight at Boots? Isn't that what young fighters do? They take a fighter that an older, more established fighter has beaten, and then they have a side by side comparison. Isn't that what they do? So I don't get that because every fighter do that. Bernie knew that.
Mm.
I'm sure Terrence has done that too. Terrence, he might fight a guy after Pacquiao or one of them. I can't remember everybody on their resume. And then you have a comparison, like, well, look what I did to him compared to what you did to him. So I don't think that's unreasonable. Crawford fought Amir Khan, right?
True, but then
You know, I,
the saying too, coach. A lot of these guys that they get beat by certain fighters. It's like punching a hole in their stomach. You're fighting a wounded guy, a guy that's never going to be the same. You know. So
well, let me say this.
is that the case? Because we all know that if you
Let,
look at
let me
Crawford's
say this.
resume, he's kind of like messing guys up
Let,
too.
let me say this. Let me say this. And I don't want it to come off like I'm a Boots apologist, but he lost his opponent for some kind of vision thing, right?
Yep.
Cody Crowley.
Yep.
Cody Crowley's undefeated, so he had to find an opponent. So at that point, you got to find the most willing, acceptable guy. You got to save the show. They done sold a bunch of tickets. Boxing is also a business, so I don't want to get too critical on that because he tried to fight the number one guy, the number one contender. He tried, but the guy didn't pass the division test, so you had to move on. So when they moved on, I was hoping they would pick um, uh, Conor Ben, to make it a Brit versus America thing and come to Philly and do the declaration of all that. And I was hoping they would pick him, but they pick Avanesian. So I don't want to be critical of the opponent when the other opponent fell out, though. You know what I mean? Listen, the only people that's going to be looked at as a challenge to Boots right now at 147 is literally nobody. There's nobody at 147 that people are going to look at and be like, yo, they could beat that. That guy can beat him. They're not. Earl and Bud moved up. Virgil Ortiz moved up. There's nobody at 147 who would even be less than a 4-1 underdog versus Boots. So the eyeball test say his talent, even if he fought Mario Barrios, Stanionis would be the closest one. Any of those guys will be a 4-1 underdog or more versus him. That's how dominant the eyeball test and what the Vegas odds makers look at him. Tell me a guy that they could look at me like, oh shit, he can beat him. It's not one.
Yeah, 147. Not a damn
It's
soul.
this is a business, so I understand. But at the end of the day, right? Do you feel like at any means, like if he beats him, does he get any credit for it?
Every time you get in that ring, you got to get credit for overcoming an opponent. Is it going to be like, you know, Earl beating, Bud beating Earl? Heck no. Let's be honest, it's not. But
Is this guy punching more? Do you think if this guy's punching more than his last opponent, Boots' last
no,
opponent,
Boots' last
Roman
opponent
Villa?
was a good puncher.
Yeah, he was a
Roman
puncher.
Villa could punch. He could punch.
Big fat. Yeah. So okay. So do you feel like by any means this is going to be a sellout for Philly? Do you feel like you're in Philly right? Well, you're not in Philly right now, but you don't really know the vibes. But all your peoples are there. How's everybody taking it? As if you think everyone's going to be showing up, it's a packed house. Talk to me.
I just got a call from somebody at the Wells Fargo that they having like a little section off for like, boxing people in the industry and boxing. So I just got a call from like one of the higher ups down there and it's like, yo, you want me to leave your name? And I'm like, you know what? I'm coming home that weekend. Go ahead and do it. So I think that the city is going to support Boots. I do. I think that the city going to support him. I don't want to predict like how many people going to be on there out there and all that, if it's going to be sold out because I can't really say that. But I think that I could see him having 10, 11, 12,000 people there. I could see that happening. It's hot. It's not a lot to do. It's not like the Eagles is playing or the Sixers is playing right now. So I could see that happening. The city, Boots is a humble kid. He's a nice kid. His family's pretty popular from uptown. Um, a lot of people gravitate to him in the gym and want to train around him and his dad. I think he's well liked. And we got a tough city, but as long as you up If you up, our city will ride with you. You know what I mean? The problem with our city is if you start losing in something, they'll turn on you quick. But I think Boots is gonna get his level of support, and I think he got the kind of style that kind of like feeds off of that. Hopefully, he's a little bit more under control than he was in his fight down DC with the guy Karen. But I think he got the kind of style that feeds off of that, and I'm looking for a spectacular performance.
I think Boots gets some stoppage in that fight.
Yeah, he said in the first half of the fight, he believes that Boots gets.
I think he's gonna get a stoppage between 1 and 6. I think he's gonna come out smoking on that guy.
I agree. I agree.
Coach, I appreciate you for your time, man. Thank you for breaking down some of these fights and reactions, man.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem.
Appreciate you. Can't wait to hear the fight update too with Caleb
Shit business. I just got a text. The announcement gonna be next week.
next week. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you for thank you for the the clues.
right.
Appreciate you. Bobby Harris, what's going on? My guy, what's cracking lagging?
Everything good. Everything good.
Everything smooth?
Everything's smooth, man. Blessed. Everything's blessed.
So what's going on, man? What's on your mind?
Not much, man. I popped up in this live, seen that you was on live, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the Shakur Stevenson fight.
Talk to me. Hablame claro. What's goody?
So, first, let me ask you a question on how you feel about the fight.
Whoa. All right, so check it. This is how I feel, right? I feel like Shakur could have let his hands go a little bit more. Should have listened to his grandfather. I believe that um, he had all the capabilities to get this guy out, even though that his hand didn't look as heavy as most other fighters at 135 pounds. Um, I think that he showed amazing defense. I think that he was making that guy. I think that what I was watching was a lot of great defense. You know what I mean? Like great defense, solid. I've seen him get a hit a couple times. He tends to roll off his shots and never really get hit clean. He's basically a defensive tactician. When it comes down to breaking down guys at 135 pounds, we've got to see him do it with Yoshino. We need to see more of that. Um, I'm proud of him as far as how he was stepping to his opponent and not moving and bouncing around. I love that part. I think that shows that you know the way he treated Artem versus the way Frank Martin treated Artem. You could see it completely different. It's like there's levels. You know what I'm saying? There's still levels. Even when we seen Tank dismantle Frank, and we seen it. There was levels. There was levels to it right away, and then boom, the outcome. But I also seen that there was levels for Shakur. But I feel like he gotta let them hands go, and bro, it's the mental thing. You know what I mean? When you have a solid, the thing about with Shakur, he got Wally Moses, a USA. A USA Olympic coach at one point in time, and he knows what he's doing, and that's a fact. And if you're not utilizing him, then you're already putting yourself in a disadvantage. Where I think he has a big advantage among other fighters, because a lot of fighters that have like their fathers training them and they're learning on the job with their son. Like, nah, this man right here, he really know what he's doing. So I feel like that's the reason why he couldn't get the job done. I think he took away. He walked his man down without the jab. I think his first three feel out rounds, he was doing good things with the jab. Um, he need to feint a little bit more with a guy that feints, because you can't just be, you got to make him move too. You know what I mean? Because that's one thing about Artem. Artem was moving around in that ring. You know what I mean? He was moving around in that ring. And you got to be able to learn how to you know, that's one thing about Canelo Alvarez that I would tell Shakur. Look at how Canelo does that walk down game. He hit you with a feint también. You know what I mean? Make you go this. Matter of fact, Gervonta Tank Davis. He hit Frank Martin with like 17 fakes. He went for all 17. You know what I'm saying? He he smiled at him and fainted, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna knock him out in a second." I'm like, "Oh no, this is bad." So he got to do little things like that when it comes down to stepping to your opponent, breaking them down. But besides that, let those hands go a little bit more, and I still want to see him. I see people didn't left. A lot of people left. I know he was saying that people paid. You know, Top Rank was paying people to leave. I don't.
When they put that video up of the people leaving.
Yeah, that was a little. That's a stretch, but people leave. I don't know. I can't explain why people left. You know what I'm saying? It was way more entertaining than a De Los Santos fight. You know what I mean? Like, that's a completely different performance. So I think he's getting backflash. Like, his backlash is like crazy. Like, all right, there's one thing we can say. That left hand looked like it didn't have pop. I ain't gonna lie though. That left hand didn't look like it was doing nothing. It just was like, just score the point. I don't know if he would. Another thing too, Shakur gotta sit down on his punches more too. So even when he's walking you down, he's still not necessarily sitting on the shot because you a box bro. Like he's sitting high, he's walking high, he's not going down. You know what I mean? And digging down to the shot, and then he's not giving you twos. He's not giving you twos and threes, and that's how you really break down a guy with the overwhelming. If you don't got the pop, you gotta overwhelm him. You know what I mean? So I believe that it was a mental thing. I think the crowd got to him. You know what I mean? I think that he probably didn't want to get hit with Artem with two shots. He was like, you know what? Let me, because Keyshawn was slip and shoot, slip. He didn't care. Keyshawn was just trying to shoot at anything he can. You know what I mean? And that's tough to see a performance from there like that. You know what I mean? Oshaki Foster upset, and then you go into this type of performance. So people are gonna have their perspective. Like, is the main event the most fire like fight out of the card? Let's be honest. A lot of people didn't get to see Abdullah Mason fight. The crowd wasn't really full yet. You know what I mean? They're not in their seats. They're still getting popcorn. They're smoking weed in the bathrooms. They're getting drinks. You know how it is. So I mean, that's what I think about Shakur. I think that Shakur can go back to the drawing board and look at that performance and be like, and he said it's a C performance. I mean, he's not telling you that that's his best. He's not telling you, but he didn't give you an excuse. You know what I'm saying? He didn't. He could have cut the ring off a little bit better as well, I believe too. And yeah, you throw combinations because you're not a puncher like that. At 35, you're not a puncher at 35. You were probably a little bit of a puncher at 30, and you was probably a puncher at 26. But at 135, you gotta let them shits go, and you gotta use your brain, and you gotta use your team, and you get the shit done. Talk to me. That's my take.
Right. No, I agree with everything that you said. When it comes to Shakur Stevenson, I'm a little familiar. I'm real familiar with the relationship between him and his grandfather because I was in camp with them for about 2-3 months up in the Colorado Training Center when we was getting ready to fight for a tournament up in Ecuador. So the relationship between him and his grandfather was, I always seen that it was very respectful and very close. What really shocked me was the fact that Shakur always had the talk back in the corner with his grandfather, and his grandfather's trying to tell him, stick to the basics, stick to the jab, moving with the jab, moving with the jab. And what I seen was Shakur was very influenced by the critics in his last performance, where everybody was like, "Oh, we want him to be more of a bully. We want him to be more of a puncher, more of a pressure fight," which he did. He tried, but I think he tried a little bit too hard to the point where he didn't get
The job done.
that he wanted.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You got to get the job done.
Exactly. He he did a lot less moving than what he did than his previous fight. But if he would have just stopped the ego shit in the corner, and for me that really upset me. The way he was talking back to his grandfather after his grandfather was trying to calm him down and bring him back to reality, bring him back to basics. Shakur, you can't. I know you get to a certain level where you think you know everything, but you can't think that you know more than your coach. Because if that's the case, why you got him in the corner? Don't be talking back to your coach and you're telling, oh, don't worry, I got this. You know what I'm saying? That's horrible. That was very sad for me to watch because, like I said, I know these guys personally. I know Shakur. I knew Shakur personally. I knew his grandfather personally. His grandfather trained me. His grandfather worked my tournament out there, and I don't want to see that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? That kind of influence on them. I want them to keep that bond even together because Shakur will skyrocket. I always like watching Shakur as a boxing fan because I think he's a once in a lifetime generational talent. He got tremendous skills. He can continue to win fights and not get hit. It would benefit him a little bit more if he had a little bit of a Mayweather mouth on him, and if people wouldn't expect him to knock people out so much, people would really just want to see him lose more, and he would still end up winning. At the end of the day, if he knows how to win and market himself, as long as that's the Mayweather. Mayweather wasn't knocking guys out in the late when he was Mayweather, money made, but he knew how to put people in those seats to watch him. So Mayweather, Shakur is not Mayweather. Shakur is a real humble guy, and I'm not taking away nothing from him. But the one thing that really hurt me, I guess, about the fight was he had too much mouth in the corner. Way too much mouth in the corner. Listen to what he was Let's get for and let's forget what these fans are asking for. Because the fans, at the end of the day, like Mayweather says, they're gonna go home and live their life, smoke their weed, drink their liquor, and they're gonna have a good life, no bumps and bruises on them. They not running all them miles like Shakur's running. They not dieting like Shakur's dieting. They not doing the sacrifices that are necessary.
But you gotta also, right? You gotta also know who you watching. We watch different fighters for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was entertained as a boxer, as a boxing trainer. Like, that's how I was entertained. I'm like, damn, he really making him miss everything. Like, and he really walking to him. Like, that's impressive. But are you in there with a puncher? No, he's not even a puncher like that. So now people gonna be like, that Tank fight gonna be ooh ooh ooh, because that's not even gonna be the way you fight Tank, because that guy don't punch like he don't punch. You feel me? So that performance we're not gonna see with Tank, maybe because he's gonna pop shot more. You know what I mean? And I think that the pop shot Mayweather thing that Mayweather was so good at, he pop shot, he would clinch, he would pop shot, but he had a little something stinger. He had like a sting. He just had a stinger. He had a stinger, and that stinger, is where you could just beat somebody up. You know what I mean? Like if your hammer is made out of rubber and my shit's made out of steel, most likely, if I'm swinging as many times as you and we connecting around the same ratio, or maybe just 30% on my end and you 60, I'm probably gonna mess up your face completely. Done. You know what I mean? I might have a headache, but your face and your bones and everything else is, you already know. So I think that's how we talk about when we talk about those guys' left hand, and that makes a difference in a fight. It makes a big difference in a fight. Um, But like I said, when we watch Caleb Plant, we watch Caleb Plant for defense. We didn't watch Caleb Plant because he was gonna knock some shit out. Oh, you know what they did though? They put him with Anthony Durrell, an old dog, so he can knock him out. And then now we're all like, oh shit, Caleb Plant can knock shit out the park. Like, you know what I'm saying? You see him off of one performance. But in reality, if you go look at his career, he's a defensive fighter. You know what I'm saying? And that's who he is. We don't look for KOs with Caleb Plant. But it was funny though. But remember, when you look at Shakur's first outing at 35, what did he do? He took out Yoshino. So then we're like, oh shit, 35 Shakur, he got to be swinging harder. Yo, these performances are making people like think otherwise. Remember why you watch these fighters. You know what I'm saying? Don't get hypnotized is what I'm saying.
Knockouts. 100%.
And yeah, and that type of, Shakur didn't have a threat in front of him this weekend. He didn't have a threat. Like, he was like, those skills are not supposed to be, in the same ring together. You can see that. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand why every boxing coach and people that are purists say, yo, why he didn't do it. Oh, well, look at the activity. That's why. And, so I understand. You know what I mean? But remember, styles make fights, ladies and gentlemen. And we can't shut people down just because they one performance, two performances. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a good performance. Like, I don't care. That was a good performance. You just didn't make a statement. But as a Shakur fan, I don't think he lost fans. You know what I mean? Those people that will probably walk it out.
He didn't lose no core fans. He didn't lose no core fans.
He didn't lose no Gore fans, and I think he gained fans too. I think that he can gain fans off of a performance like that too. If you start looking at it as a boxing purist and seeing that, wow, I want to be a defensive fighter. I would want to look at that fight and be like Shakur Stevenson when it comes to defense. And then I'll go and I'll flip on Tank Davis later to watch a knockout. That's just whatever I'm feeling. You know what I mean? And as a fighter, you guys know how that is, right? Right? If you're a fighter, you want to learn on. Oh, I want to pick up some clues. You're gonna pick up a clue off of one person.
I always like watching Shakur. It's very impressive to see how his ring generalship and the way he can swim without getting wet. I mean, that's the most impressive asset I think to any boxer. Yeah. Or any real boxing fan. But when it comes to the casuals and when it comes to the average fans and the people who are not really who don't really understand what they're watching, that's a real downgrade for them.
And I get it too, because people copy what other people say all the time and stuff. So I get it, but they don't exactly know what they're saying. Like, they can't explain how they got to that, right? So, but I understand, like, if you are a Tank fan and you don't necessarily need to be a casual to be like, oh, if he fights him, no, he has a lot of skill to get that knockout, to get the job done, to even win a decision to Shakur. You know what I mean? It's not just casual fans that are thinking that. There's purists that think that's a good statement. That's a good statement. But at the same time, we gotta also believe that Shakur might not give you a performance that you could touch him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Did you guys like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather? Was that entertaining for you guys? Just let me know.
I did.
You thought it was entertaining?
Yeah, I did like
Who made it more? Who made it the most entertaining? All right, did it live up to his expectations?
No, definitely not. No, it didn't live up to it. But I like the fact that Mayweather was able to take away the best thing that Pacquiao's supposed to be this machine who throws 24 combinations or 24 punch combinations.
That one's a hard one that's a hard one to compare to, because we added Manny Pacquiao in the situation, and nobody's like Manny Pacquiao, not no Artem, right? So we can't. That was a bad one. That was a horrible one. Let me eat. But you know what I'm saying though, right?
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. After that performance, is there any doubt that if Shakur fights Tank, that now Tank will beat him no problem, or now Tank gonna beat Shakur?
I know the Vegas odds are gonna have Tank up.
Yeah, the Vegas odds is gonna have Tank up as the favorite, but I can see that fight still going probably the distance because of Shakur's defensive problems in the ring. Shakur gonna move around that fight. Shakur's gonna dip and dodge and slip. Now, mind you, and that fight Shakur does a little bit too much moving, and even though he might be landing a little bit more than Tank, just because Tank might be pressuring the fight and it goes 12 rounds, they might give it to Tank. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We just saw that with Shockey. You know, even though Shockey was slipping pretty much 90% of the shots, you know, the judges was giving it to the aggressor. Right. That was their reason.
You know what I like? You know what I like about most about doing these interviews and talking to the coaches and stuff is, I don't know if you guys see it, but the mental warfare that these guys are putting on each other, like the mental warfare that Coach Kenny's putting on Shakur, on the media, like just in the media, like there's a lot of, even Calvin does it, you know, uh, Shakur's team does it as well. Like there's a lot of mental warfare that goes on, right, in the social media, but we don't really feel it like the boxers do. You know what I'm saying? They're really, really thinking about it. We just let that pass by. But mental warfare, that's some shit that you thinking while you're training in the gym, bro.
It really takes
When you're hitting that bag, that mental shit, all these interviews, bro, that's what when they're training, that's what they're thinking of. Oh, he said this.
You gotta
He
be
said
a
that.
special fighter.
What he mean by that?
All that shit out and stay focused. And that's one of my thoughts about Shakur is that you have great fighters like him that put so much time in sparring that sometimes you put your best and leave your best in the sparring fights. And then under the lights, it's like you don't put together those combinations. You don't put together, because the only thing I feel as though I missed from Shakur in this fight was combinations. Give back what is given to you. If Artem's throwing 4, you throw 5. You hit him with something to earn his respect, to make him back up, to make him say, oh, hold up. Coach, when I go back to the corner, I gotta let you know I gotta rethink that, because he hit me with something that made me rethink that.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing. The defensive was A+. I give him A+ on defense. So far as fight, I give him a C+.
You know what it is too, is like we all gotta understand too, every fighter got a certain dog in them. You know what I mean? There's some big dogs, there's small dogs. You know what I mean? Yeah. And one thing that you can say, right? Even it's not about the size of the dog, right? It's about the heart of the dog, right? But if you look at the size of the dog of Tank Davis, he's a small man with a whole different type of dog. Separates himself from a lot of these fighters. IQ, experience, all that comes in factor in the high level. That piece right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what people crave. Hardcores, casuals, all of them. And that's what makes you a star too. When you put that all together, you know what I'm saying? It really is like that, because you could be a person that doesn't even speak English. You know what I mean? Cotto was a person that he didn't even speak English. Remember, Manny Pacquiao, his English was horrible, and then it got better because he was like a superstar for how many decades? You know what I mean? But the first 2 decades, not very good looking, if you know what I mean, English-wise. But you could be a star, without, Canelo, star, So, nevertheless, though, it's good to see everybody that is supporting all the fighters. I think that's key too. You know what I mean? Supporting the fighters that you like to watch. Because if you don't like to watch Shakur Stevenson, cool, don't watch him. If that's not your style, don't watch him. You feel me? But like all the Devin Haney fans should be watching him though. Because that's that style. That's a similar style right there. There's a lot of similarities to that style. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we don't watch Devin Haney too, because he's gonna knock some shit out.
got in that fight? Devin Haney with Shakur.
I got Shakur. But that's a close. That's a close fight though. It's a good fight. People be like, "Yo, that's a boring fight." I think that's a good fight because the heart of the dog. They have a certain heart of a dog that's similar size. You know what I'm saying? It's fair. You know what I mean? It's fair of the dogness. You know what I mean? Like that you can see that. And what I mean by fair is like I mean like fair to the fans to be like, oh shit, we're gonna have a back and forth battle that's gonna be going crazy. You know what I mean? Because these guys have that that potion for this fight. It's you know you need a match, and I think that those two that's their match right there because they're gonna give us something, and they have like for instance, Devin Haney. Look at this. Devin Haney walked down Ryan Garcia and got hit and got dropped and kept walking them down and walking them down. That shit was mentality, brother.
Yep.
That was like, nah. You're my age, and we already fought together. And that was a different type of mentality that Devin never brought into any of these fights, regardless of the fact that that offense was horrible. But at least he stepped it to him. So I'm going to give Devin that prop. It took a lot of heart to do that. You know what I mean?
He showed dog in that fight.
Exactly. Now you got to be a little bit like Shakur now. Bring that offense. And I don't expect you to be that defensively good as him because his head movement and his slipping in the pocket is different than Devin's. It's completely different. You know?
How you think Shakur gonna react if he gets hit with some Ryan Garcia hook? Think he gonna have that same dog?
Papa, that boy is hitting. That boy is hitting. The thing about with him is that same thing. Like we bet on Devin to win on that fight with Ryan, lost money because he didn't fight his fight. Shakur's gonna fight his fight. You feel me? So for him to get hit with that left hook, it's gonna be very hard.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible. And
I'll tell you exactly what's gonna happen in that fight. Shakur is going to be so on point with that left hand, it'll never land all night, making it a boring fight to the fans. And everybody after that fight will complain that, oh, Shakur didn't let it.
But there's an IQ level. There's even Devin and Shakur, Devin and I think that Devin has a higher IQ, a little bit of a higher IQ than Ryan, but not by much. It's not like a big. It's more of Devin being more of an athlete than anything. You know what I mean? It's more of Devin being more of an athlete. Ryan got IQ. Oh yeah, Ryan got that shit. Ryan got that intelligent IQ that it's like what like Breadman said. If you don't knock somebody out right with one shot, you know how you knock them out. You swing when they swing, and that goes for guys that don't punch as well. I've never been a guy that knocked you out off of a clean shot that I seen open. Nah, I did on my dropping when you was throwing some shit. Then that's how I got it because I wasn't a big puncher. Yeah, I wasn't a big puncher. So that's what those are the risks that you take. There's a certain risk you got to take to do that though. You know what I mean? Bobby will tell you there's a certain risk you got to do to swing when someone swinging in traffic. You feel me? So
you should develop that in the first round of fighting.
Yeah, Terrence Crawford and Ryan Garcia are really good at it. Like they're really good at it. You know what I mean? So you can never count. And then there's a lot of speed on Ryan, so you really can't count that kid out. You really can't. But there is a skill gap.
Well, I think honestly, Devin went in that fight with a
even Shakur and Devin. There's a skill gap there. There is a skill gap.
Well, honestly, like I said, I think if in hindsight, if Devin could have went back and fought like he fought Campos, using his jab to set up his shots.
Okay, papa, when your fundamentals are trash, your fundamentals are trash. Obligado. If just because you didn't get hit today, doesn't mean that you look at Mayweather. At times he would do the same thing, right? But he got away with it. When you get away with it,
fighters fight emotional too.
Yeah,
seen fighters
but
their fight, and then when they get into a trash talking fight, an emotional fight.
But I'll give you an example. Terrence.
They know, and they lose the fight.
Terrence. Terrence, check this out. Bobby's a fighter, right? Bobby, when we spar, right? And it's easy work. Your fundamentals be trash sometimes, right? Because it's easy work and you playing around, right?
Yeah.
And you're not focused, right?
You start to slack because you get away with stuff that you normally shouldn't be getting away with somebody that's at that caliber in front of you.
Absolutely. And if someone's punching, are you more sharp when someone's more punching? When they're punching?
Sure.
Your hands are supposed to be where they're supposed to be, right?
For sure.
Bro, I have videos of myself, right? Sparring my students that are 17 years old, and then I have a dude that's bigger than me and that I'm sparring that's 200 pounds, right? But he can box too, he can fight. And I seen that I wasn't trying to make no mistake. I sparred them completely different. My coach over here was telling me, throw the right hand, you pussy, because I'm timing him with the jab, and I'm content to just touch him. No, throw the right hand, you got it. And you know what? I threw it, it landed. I trusted him. Coach, the other eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's a mental thing. That dude was cracking, bro. I'm trying to tell you. So I was on my P's and Q's of not wanting to make mistakes. When you're a fighter that you're in your P's and Q's not wanting to make mistakes, you're a different type of a fighter. You're a complete, and Shakur Stevenson has that shit. Shakur has that shit. The only thing that he has to do.
Bring the best out of you. That's why they say it depends on who's in front of you to bring the best out of you. That's why they say certain fighters bring the best out of certain fighters. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Mandatory, bro. Mandatory. If you, to be honest, and that's why when people say, "Oh, Teofimo Lopez fights to his competition," I actually know exactly what that means because I know exactly what that feels like. Actually, I know exactly how that feels like in the gym. I know how it feels like. So yes, he does do that. For sure.
That's why when you're first starting as a professional and you fighting these guys that may be journeymen and don't have the IQs that you have, your coach telling them, look, if you don't belong there, take him out right away because he's gonna make you look bad. He's gonna get sloppy and swing crazy and throw some shit that you're not really expecting because you always used to fighting top level guys who know how to hold their hands right. And when you fighting somebody who's very awkward and wild, he can make you look bad, and you might end up losing that fight.
And
even though your style's way better.
And that's what makes Pitbull Cruz good because yeah, he might swing some wide shit, but everything that he wants to throw is in, and his fundamentals are tight. So to beat Pitbull, you got to be creative. You know what I mean? Because his hands are gonna be where they're supposed to be. Huh? What was that?
I want to see Cruz and Shakur. I want to see how Shakur deals with that.
And Cepeda.
That will bring the best out of Shakur.
And that's what you need sometimes. Sometimes you need somebody, right? That's that style. Styles make fights not just for the fighters, guys. It's for the fans. Honestly, right. It's for the fans. To be real, it's mostly for the fans, actually.
Yeah,
you know, unless you have a big investment on the line.
Cruz and his people said they already turned down Shakur once. So, that's they not Shakur.
But remember, it could be.
Shakur is boring.
But you see that it's the style that he has a fan base that likes a certain style, and they need to cater to that fan base.
Yeah,
that's what it is. To put yourself in a position like that, to put yourself for the managers to put their champion in a position like that is bad management. Unless you don't really believe that you could really unify. Or, anyway, he got a belt at 40, you know what I mean? So, but that right now with Pitbull Cruz and him, I think Cepeda is really the guy that we got to be talking about, really.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's the fight.
I think Cepeda is the guy.
Fight that can be made. And need to be made.
I'm gonna talk to Coach Panda probably a little bit later on tonight or tomorrow. The coach of William Cepeda, so we'll chop it up. Also try to get William Cepeda on as well, so that way you guys, he can help us out with the translation and all that as well. Nevertheless, guys, appreciate you for tapping in. I gotta go. It's like over 300 people on the live and not even one super chat. I'm out of here. I'm live. Blessings, guys. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all for watching me, though, for real. Blessings, man. We do it. We do it for y'all. We do it for y'all. Blessings, blessings. God bless, and on to the next. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.